If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. I could probably end the list right there, but I'm going to continue. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. Speaking from personal experience, creating a podcast felt so overwhelming. I didn't know where to start, but using Anchor was a no-brainer. Their website and app is user-friendly. You're able to navigate through it easily. It's pretty cool, guys. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, and it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. A one-stop shop. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. On this week's episode of the Indie Center podcast, we sit down with actor and screenwriter Leo D. Sales. But before we get into that, a word from our sponsors. This episode of the Indie Center podcast is brought to you by Spotify, the place where you can listen to your favorite artists and podcasts for free. Did you hear me? You don't even need a premium membership. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now. On Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcast so you never miss an episode. Are you subscribed to me yet? Wink, wink. Premium users can download episodes to listen to offline wherever you are, and that is so convenient. How many times have you found yourself in an airplane or driving down a road with no reception and you just want to escape but can't? You are stuck sitting next to somebody that snores, or you're stuck in a meaningless conversation and you just want to listen to podcasts. Well, now you can, guys. And you can easily share what you're listening to with your friends on Instagram. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to download the Spotify app and search for Indie Center Podcast on Spotify, or browse podcasts in the Your Library tab. Also, make sure to follow me so you never miss an episode. All right, episode number 15. We are here with Leo D. Sales. He's an actor and screenwriter located in Indiana. How you doing, brother?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me. Appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. So I've seen you around quite a bit on social media. You were part of Raul Colon's film Room 13.
Yeah.
88,000 views, huh?
Dude, I feel very lucky to be a part of that for sure. I don't think we all really didn't know what was going to happen after the premiere. I mean, the premiere at the Music Box in October of 2016 was really, really big, and we were like, wow, this is a great turnout. But then, a couple years later, you look on YouTube and it's got almost 100,000 views, and you're kind of like baffled with the response from the audience. So yeah, man, it's been awesome for sure.
And you never know what the film's going to do until it's out. So, I mean, what it's done, it's amazing. And you're the comic relief in there, which is, you were pretty funny in there, man.
For sure. Well, I mean, really, we just made this. I mean, I'm not sure if you knew this or not, but we made this film in like 2 days, basically 1.5 days.
Yeah, you told me.
So it was kind of one of those things where we got the script, we did, the table read, we had like a week to like locate or scout our locations, and then it was kind of off to the races. So just kind of like you said, man, you never really know what a film's going to do until you release it for the world to see. And obviously there's always going to be people that sit behind a keyboard and try to act like warriors and talk shit. But at the same time, I mean, when you're a part of something good like that, you can't really you can't complain about anything. I mean, it was a great experience. And, I told Raul this, I came out with a lot of new family members from that movie. So it was fantastic for sure.
I could see the relationship built between you and the actors.
Oh, sure.
So that's great to see.
Definitely. Absolutely, man.
When did your love for film begin?
Well, so I mean, honestly, back in the day, like I used to watch, like it's funny, it's around Christmas time now. I used to watch like Home Alone and It's a Wonderful Life and all these Christmas movies with my dad when I was like 6, 7, 8, to 10 years old. And I used to kind of recite the words as they were being said on the screen. So my dad used to get really pissed off at me because he wouldn't be able to hear anything in the movie. So I would just be saying like Kevin McAllister's lines, and I'd be saying, different lines from films and stuff. And I never really knew what it meant until I probably turned about 14 or 15 years old, when I really decided I wanted to be a creative for kind of like my line of work. And then I kind of just dove into the history of film and different directors, kind of exploring different mediums within the film industry. One day I kind of decided I wanted to at least see how it was. So I did some stand-in work for Empire, and I kind of say it was kind of like off to the races as that happened. That's kind of when I really fell in love with every little aspect of it. So I wanted to, do this for my career, and here I am now,
So you made that decision so early in life, like that's a really young age to say, this is what I want to do.
For sure. And I think obviously when you're 14 or 15 years old, you can't go at it as hard as you want to because you're young. But, I think the going after it 100% really took place when I was like 21, 22. That's when I was really like, okay, I don't want to sit behind a desk. I don't want to make phone calls. I don't want to talk to customers. I want to really do, I want to be an artist for my job. And that's kind of when I started looking for agents and seeing, I just kind of familiarizing myself with the entire industry, because if you never had an agent, you really don't know how it works. Do you pay them? Do you not pay them? Like, what are they going to submit you for? That kind of stuff. So when I turned, I think 19 to 21, 22 was kind of that transitional period where I really decided that I wanted to do this. And then it's been a grind ever since. Chicago's full of some of the most talented actors in the entire world. So, getting to work with, even Barton Fitzpatrick, from Room 13, that was awesome. And it's been a grind, but I've loved every single second of it. You know what I mean? There's always something new, and there's always something you can learn from this industry you didn't know the day before,
Yeah. And you said it, Chicago's filled with a lot of talent, but it's also filled with a lot of scams. And you just said you don't know whether to pay or not pay your agents. Did you fall for scams?
So I didn't necessarily fall for a scam. There were people who would reach out that, especially when you're new to the game, you're thinking like, wow, these people say that they can get me auditions for, Disney shows and Coca-Cola commercials and Pepsi commercials. And I advise everybody, especially in Chicago, because there's a lot of, if you like the bunny ears agencies in Chicago, that want you to pay money first. And that's kind of what happened to me is they said they wanted me to pay money, and I basically told them to fuck off. Excuse my language, but I really did. I mean,
you're good.
No, it's like one of those things where you have to do your research, so when you're getting an agent, you got to make sure that you're going to pay them 10% when they book you something. If they want you to pay anything other than that, I would advise telling them what I told the other agency.
Fuck off. I fell for the scam, man. I mean, the whole pay to play, they prowl on the ones that are beginning. So coming in here, you're just hoping for the opportunity. And once you get that call saying, hey, there's a Disney commercial, or hey, I could get you on a movie on 300. I directed this and that and the other. Just pay me $500.
For sure.
It's easy to fall for that.
Oh yeah. Well, because it's almost like they're telling you can, they can buy your dreams. It's like
exactly.
They feed off of passion from people who want to do something, and they don't give a shit about the end result. So they just want to take your money, but that's the cool thing about, Chicago is there's a lot of great agencies in Chicago that want to represent people who are passionate. And I think all the majors do, especially when you're looking for an agent, you probably want to make sure, a few things, make sure they're, ATA franchised, SAG franchised, make sure that, they have, look at their roster, go on their website, see who's represented by them. If you're in the film industry in Chicago, I can almost assure you that if you look at every one of the major talent agencies and you look at their roster, you'll know someone that's represented by them if they're a real agency. Talk about all the big ones. You have Promote, you have Stewart, you have Gray, Grossman and Jack, Hayes Talent. You got all these talent agencies. You got to make sure you do all your research because these are the good ones. You know what I mean? And I'm super sorry to hear that you fell for a scam. Because you're a talented guy. You know what I mean? You got to get that talent in the right hands for sure.
Yeah, thank you. But shit happens. You live and learn. Take that
Absolutely,
lesson. Man. In the future.
Oh yeah. Sure.
What was your favorite genre growing up? Because you're saying Christmas, so it was like the holiday kid flicks? Was that your thing?
No, I mean honestly, I was kind of a weird kid, bro. Like, I grew up like watching a lot of Martin Scorsese films. So like, even now translating to, me being 27 years old, I mean, Goodfellas, like Casino. Dude, my dad would play this shit all the time. You know what I mean? Mom would go to bed at 9 o'clock. I'd stay up. I'd watch Casino with my dad. And I was just blown away, by just that essence of like the whole gangster, mobster, all that kind of stuff. And it's funny because my grandma used to watch all those movies. We'd come home and she's sitting in a rocking chair, like 85 years old, watching like The Godfather. And I was like, damn, this is actually pretty dope. You know what I mean? So it all kind of came from that. So I think I've been interested in the more, and this is going to sound bad, but I've almost been interested more in like the violent, nitty gritty, no bullshit, like this is how it is kind of film. You know what I mean? Like obviously I love I'm not docking Christmas movies because I love Christmas movies and I started watching them in September. But at the same time, it's like I think I'm more drawn to the very dark, kind of like the dark essence of filmmaking, whether it's, Scorsese kind of bringing subjects to light when people don't really talk about them, or even Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino does that a lot too. And a lot of people don't like him for it, but I love him for it because he's bringing out topics that no one else is talking about, So.
What's your top 5 favorite gritty films?
Oh man, you're gonna do this to me right now, aren't you? Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my top 5, man. This is so hard, bro. Well, my favorite film, to the audience, listening to this, I apologize if there's a lot of Scorsese movies in here, but I'm such a big Scorsese fan that I can't leave any of his films out. I think, my number one favorite film of all time is The Departed. That's really what kind of like inspired me to do what I do. So The Departed would have to be one. That's kind of the ultimate film about, you see people going through, trials, tribulations. You witness like betrayal between two people who have known each other for their entire lives. So the Departed would definitely be one. You can't leave The Godfather out. That's for sure. Godfather would definitely be number 2.
Oh my God. You putting the whole series on there?
What's that?
You putting the whole entire series?
Okay, we're gonna put Godfather Part 1 and 2 as number 2.
Okay.
Number 3 is gonna be left in the in the dirt for a little while, unfortunately. But we'll do. Man, this is tough. All right, so we got.
I know.
Departed.
So many great films.
Godfather Part 1 and 2, and again, I'm on a Scorsese kick now too, so I'm gonna go Goodfellas. Goodfellas, Casino, Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver is one of my favorite films of all time too. So,
all right,
that's way too. I saw
you struggling there, man.
That's way too tough of a question, bro. I had 1,000 things working.
I should have gave you the heads up. I should have texted you, man.
Man, oh my God! But I love talking about Scorsese's movies, though. I mean, dude, like I just saw The Irishman.
Oh man, he's awesome.
Oh my God, dude!
I started watching it, but it's 3.5 hours, man. It's way too long. I mean, if I didn't have the kids. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Dude,
all right.
It is.
Kill me for that one.
Oh my God. It is so.
It is. So
good.
far, it's great.
Well, because so I saw that. I mean, they've been teasing this for like the last 6 months, and then I saw Raul post about it. So right when I saw Raul post about it, like I love Raul more than anything, dude. That kid. If I like one of his statuses, like in 2 seconds, he'll call me, and he'll be like, "Yo, bro, you need to watch The Irishman." So he's like, "You need to watch. You need to watch. You need to watch it." So I'm sitting in my apartment and it's like 6 o'clock and I'm like, talk to my girlfriend. I was like, Rachel, like, we should just watch it. It's 3.5 hours, but like, let's just watch it. We're not doing anything else. It's Thanksgiving break. Dude, so we watched it and it blew my fucking mind. It is like, honestly, it's like, it's Scorsese at his best, like at his top of his game. And this is his latest film. I mean, he's bringing back everybody, dude. He's got De Niro, Pacino, you got Joe Pesci, Harvey Keitel. You have an entire cast of people. I mean, even Ray Romano's in it. And it's just like,
my wife was looking at me. She's like, "Who is he?" I'm like, "That's Ray Romano." You don't know who Ray Romano is?
It's insane. Well, because it kind of took me by surprise when I saw Ray Romano in the film. But I think Ray Romano had something to do with that could be wrong. Something to do with a show called Vinyl on HBO, and Scorsese executive produced that. So I'm pretty sure that's how that relationship happened. But Ray Romano was great connected. In the movie. He was fantastic. Dude.
Oh yeah,
so good.
I gotta finish watching it. I think I'm at an hour and 40 minutes in, I believe.
Oh man,
we gotta finish watching it.
You have not seen nothing yet, brother. I mean, you got to let me know how you like it for sure.
Oh, definitely. So I was looking through your resume and all your films that you've done.
Mm-hmm.
Belle kind of stood out for me, right?
Yeah.
So Belle is a period piece film.
Yeah, absolutely.
How was it making it, and how difficult was making a period piece film?
Well, so it's funny how Belle happened. So Belle is it's a SAG film. It's kind of a period piece about a notorious serial killer back in like the late 18th century, early 19th century, and she would basically lure men to her cabin from across the country, wealthy men, backtracking wealthy men. She wanted to take their money, and then she would kill them. And essentially, she would kill them, put them in a meat grinder, and then feed these people to the hogs. So there was no trace of these men anywhere. And
shit.
Yeah, it was wild. So when I heard they were doing a movie about it, I was like, okay, like I don't care what I have to do. I need to be a part of this. So I think it was like 4 or 5 days before principal photography started. I randomly added the director on Facebook. His name's Steven Ruminski. He's worked with John Hancock a lot. John Hancock did Prancer. He did Bang the Drum Slowly back in the day. And he actually lives in our hometown. So I reached out and I said, yo, you have no idea. Mind you, I added him. And before he could even accept my friend request on Facebook, I already messaged him. So I was like, I was so eager to do this part. I was like, yo, like I said, and it's one of those like little moments where you just feel super ballsy and you're like, all right, I'm just going to say this. And there's no way he's not going to cast me. So I was like, this is a part that only I can play. So if you audition anybody else, it's going to be wrong, and it's not going to be as good as you want it to be. So if you and I was just completely out of my fucking mind for saying that, right? Because like I mean, there's a million other people who do that part, but just being a naive little shit that I was like, all right, bro, like this is me. What do you want me to do? So it says that he read it, and then like 3 hours later he didn't reply, and I was like, oh shit, I just totally screwed myself over. So he goes, okay, I'll give you a shot. Come to the library. We're going to be downstairs in room like 15B. So I walked in, and to my surprise, there was like 7 other dudes auditioning for the part. And I was like, oh, this is great. Like, this is, my comment to him really made an impression because there's 7 other guys down here that look just like me. But I went in, and the read went really good. And fortunately he offered me the part. But then, once you get the part, it's more of like, you're excited for a second, but then you realize that this is a totally different time period than what you're living in, So yeah, going back in time and kind of even looking at the mannerisms and little idiosyncrasies of, how people acted, how people reacted, how they talked, and even their body language, it just says so much, it's always very proper. You see people slouching in their chairs now, and that was not a thing back then. So getting kind of the body language and the idiosyncrasies, and then especially the dialogue, that was the most challenging part for me for sure, because it was just so new, And before these parts, I was playing like little frat guy parts, and I was playing like little like smart ass, white boy.
Yeah, the asshole. You were the asshole in the films.
And then going to a nice, polite, photographer in this film. It was a very big transition. It definitely tested, my ability as an actor. But I'm thankful that it came out really well, and that's just kind of an ode to, if you do the work, it'll speak for itself. So you just have to really dive in.
That's crazy that you have to unlearn the way you behave and then learn how to behave in a different, age, in a different century. That's hard to do.
Oh, it's so hard, man.
Because you don't see that every day. So you literally have to like dive into the 1800s to see how they do it. And did you practice in front of a mirror, or how did you do it? Well,
so it's funny, like, I think everybody who knows me really well, I think Raul especially knows this. I can't grow facial hair worth a shit. So it was so funny. So like, I feel like everybody always talks about, when you get into the costume and your makeup gets done, you can kind of really dive in 110% and envision what you want this character to look like. So I was like, for 2 weeks before filming, I was like, okay, I'm gonna grow my mustache out. Can't grow a mustache at all. It's like you see these little specks coming out of like my upper lip, and it's weird. So I let it grow out for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then I went to Walgreens like on a whim. I think I was gonna get like a Red Bull or something like that, and I saw they had mascara. So I was like, this could work really, really well. So it's like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I had like a part-time job that I worked in the afternoon. So I would stay up late and kind of like, watch films, and I'd read the script, this kind of stuff. So it's like 1 a.m. I'm sitting in my room, and I'm just like looking at the mascara on my desk, and I haven't opened it. I'm just looking at it. and I'm thinking like,
Huh.
why not? You know, just I'm trying to give myself a reason, like why not try it out? You know, so I popped that shit open and I freaking started slopping it on my face, dude. And the first initial reaction to myself when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, it looks like I have a mustache. It looks real. So I go all out. I get in a suit. I do my hair. I get the mustache on. I wore like an old knit tie to kind of feel the early 19th century presence of Mr. Cook coming out of me. So then, and it's so weird. I was taking like selfies and taking like mirror pictures and like really trying to get into it. And it's like, again, and mind you, it's like 1:30 in the morning. So I text all these pictures to Steven, the director, thinking like, oh, he's going to love this shit. And I literally did not get a reply to him until like the following Thursday. I was like, oh my God,
Shut the fuck up.
What am I doing right now? But then all he said was like, looks great. That's all he said, 2 words. And I was like, okay. So that's kind of how it worked. But
you sent them a message. You sent them selfies at 2 a.m, 1 a.m.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, cause like I was just so excited about somewhat having like a real mustache. Like it was something weird. It's like, okay, like this is real. So like I want to get some input on it. And I'm pretty sure I sent it to like more than one person too. It was like Steven and like the director of photography, one of the producers, and like, our mayor, Mark Krenz, he's the Mayor Laporte. He's actually an actor as well. And I was kind of sharing the screen with him in the scene we were doing. And I sent him the pictures afterwards too. And it's funny because I only got like 2 replies, and I'm still wondering out why. But it worked out. It worked out in my favor because I think that if anybody has seen it online and if they've seen the film or the stills, they think that it looks real. So like basically / makeup artist that can make dudes look like however they want.
Please tell me you provided some text to the picture. You just didn't send people selfies of you with a duck face.
Oh,
did you say, hey, this is my new mustache?
I'm a minimalist, so I was just like, does this look good? that's like all I said. And it works, you know what I mean? Because they said like I was like, all right, I'm just gonna play it slow. So I'm gonna take a selfie, send it to them, say, does this look good? And then they're gonna be like, oh my God, this looks so good. But like every person was just like, yeah, it looks good. And like they were expecting me to do it. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God. But no, it was a fantastic experience. Belle was a great experience for more than one reason. I got to work with Anne Hagman. She's super, super talented. I got to work with Will Lott. I got to work with Mayor Krenz and Laporte too, Amanda Radabaugh, Steve Rominski. The whole team with Belle they were just impeccable. They did such a good job, and that was definitely a good learning experience for me, and one that definitely pushed me to do better every day because I had to. You know what I mean? Because you're with so many talented people that if you don't perform, it's going to tell on screen. So you got to make sure that you're busting your ass and you're on your A game. And that movie definitely brought that out of me for sure.
Oh, definitely. Do you, for shits and giggles, do you still put the mascara on your lip?
I mean, it depends on what day it is. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I guess any day that ends in a Y, but but yeah, I mean, I think I still have that mascara, but I've never been put in the position where I needed to grow my facial hair out. Because again, like it's a lengthy process, bro. I'm like a 13-year-old kid, bro. I can't grow facial hair. So like, I mean, if I wait 2 weeks, I mean, it's gonna be like these little like speckles coming out of my face and shit. But yeah, I still got it at home. I still cherish it, and it's always there for a lonely night. You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah. You've done quite a bit of horror films. Actually, a lot of your films and your filmography has been horror. Yes. Does doing horror films take the fun out of watching horror films?
Absolutely not. No. So I mean, I've always been kind of interested in the horror genre, and I think the last like 2 years of my life, I've really kind of dove into that genre of filmmaking, and it's cool to see. There's so many great directors making so many good films now. You have like James Wan. I mean, his whole universe with like The Conjuring and Insidious, and even pre-James Wan, you have like Wes Craven, and these aren't just horror filmmakers. These are really good filmmakers that kind of focus in on the horror genre. So when you're doing a horror film, and if people always ask me like, is it scary when you're filming it? And obviously it's not scary when you're filming it because there's cameras and there's a crew and this kind of stuff. But the location, especially for Room 13, that was one that was kind of scary. It was like an abandoned building.
Yeah, it did look creepy.
Oh, super, super scary. But it doesn't take the fun out of watching horror films, because whenever you see a really well done film, I mean, of course, like there's always those C&D movies on Netflix that you watch that are horrible. But if you look at like like even one of the most recent horror films that I've seen is Hereditary. I thought that was fantastic. super good. But no, I think in general, it doesn't take any enjoyment out of watching the films. I think it's cool to say, okay, I'm part of, making horror films. So getting to enjoy them on your couch, just kind of like, oh, like maybe next time we do a film, we can incorporate this or this, because, the film industry is an industry of people stealing from each other. It's like stealing ideas. It's doing all this kind of stuff.
Of course.
It's just, it's really cool to see how other people make films. And I will always be a huge fan of the horror genre for sure.
Is there a horror film that, like, to this day scares the shit out of you?
Yeah, let me see. So a lot of people don't think this, but there's a film called The Devil Inside Us, I think, or The Devil Inside, I think it's called. And there's something about those found footage horror films. And then sometimes you see these actors and actresses that play off being like possessed so well that you're like questioning their sanity in the film. Even like, and this again, like I'm sure people have seen this, and I don't know if they feel the same way, but there's another film called The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and my girlfriend and I watch that movie, I'd say probably once every 2 months, and every time we watch it, we're like, she literally looks like she's possessed. Like she's not even a person. Like the way she's talking, the way she looks, and like the way she's like contorting her body. It's just like those are the films that are like scariest. I feel like it's not necessarily the ones that have like the most blood and guts, but it's the one that it most resembles a human being, because you still see a human being inside this dark nature of a character, and it's like, oh my god. Like, but there's a lot of films that I still get terrified when I see the first Halloween. That's like a really, really good film. All the Conjuring movies are all scary, but if I had to pick a couple that still scare the living balls out of me, it would probably be the Devil Inside and The Exorcism of Emily Rose, for sure.
Do you ever wonder, because you're talking about the Emily Rose, do you ever wonder what it's like to for the character process for the actor to get into it? Do you ever wonder how rigorous and how exhausting it is to play a possessed person?
Oh, sure. I mean,
have you ever
delved into that? Yeah, I mean, I've talked about that before. I've had conversations with this, about this exact topic with people before. I mean, when you talk about, doing a scene where you're very upset or where you're very angry, and you have to kind of keep that momentum throughout the entire day, because if you lose it, it's going to show, you know what I mean? So I think this, I've never been involved in a project where I've been possessed, but if you put yourself in the shoes of an actor or actress who needs to play possessed, it's kind of like the same thing. You can't act like a normal person, because if you act like a normal person, the audience is going to know that you're not possessed. So I would assume that it's a pretty rigorous process to continually act like you're a demon, you know what I mean? And I'm sure, and I think some of like the best acting I've seen in a long time comes from people who play possessed people. And that sounds crazy, but especially when you look at like the contortionists, what they can do with their body, and then while they're doing that with their body, what they can do with their face, and then what they can do with their vocal cords, and when they all blend it together, I think that's what really makes it a scary little piece.
Yeah. What is your favorite genre when you're writing? Favorite genre?
So I really, really like writing drama pieces, and I probably have, I would say, 6 full-length dramatic screenplays on my computer that have never come to fruition. But I always like diving into different topics. Like I've written horror films before, but I think the problem with writing horror films, and I still love it to this day, but the problem is with writing horror films, like almost every idea you can think of, whether you think it's original or not, has been taken. Like every single horror film has been done before. So whenever with Hereditary, I like that so much, is because it's so different, it's so outside the box and unique, that you get to dive into almost like a different subgenre of horror. You know what I mean? So I think lately I've been more intrigued in writing like drama pieces and creating these stories and kind of bringing those to life rather than writing horror films. Because I feel like a lot of screenwriters and actors that like to write, they'll kind of pick the horror genre because everybody knows how horror movies go. It's kind of like a preconceived like little notion that, okay, this person's an idiot, they're gonna go up the stairs and this happens and this happens. So like I think people kind of gravitate towards writing horror at least at first, because they know that they can have a complete film. But when you kind of look at the scope of being a creative and writing, that's when I think people should kind of start diving into writing little dramatic pieces and writing, whatever, you even about your own experiences. I think that's kind of a healing process with a lot of people, is
Oh, definitely.
Whether we know it or not, all of our colleagues, friends, coworkers, family members, everybody has traumatic experiences, and I think writing is a very cathartic process. And I urge anybody who's wanting to write to download Celtics and just start writing. It doesn't have to be the best screenplay in the entire world, but it's definitely cathartic, and you'll definitely get those creative juices flowing. And I think a lot of it helps with the healing process too. If you go through something traumatic and you write it down all on paper and you read it, it's like, okay, I'm not holding it in anymore. It's on paper. So it's not, nothing's bottled up inside me. And I think it's a very cathartic thing to do. So, but yeah, I mean, dramatic pieces, I definitely want to finalize a script that I like enough to send to people and try to send to agents or get made. But right now I'm kind of more focusing on doing, kind of getting to where I want to be, at least with the acting side of things right now. And then if that somehow does take off, I would definitely love to start writing a little bit more for sure.
I think what you just said is so true, where people write about their whole life experiences, the grievances, to where it helps them heal.
Yeah.
The best example of that as of recently, Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah,
Honey Boy.
dude, for sure.
Did you check it out, or is
I
it
have
out
not
yet?
seen it yet, but I'm a huge Shia LaBeouf fan, so I need to watch it.
Yeah, man. I mean, that to see that, and then to go back to Even Stevens, or all the movies and films that he'd done earlier on, it'll give a new perspective on the actor of it. So I definitely, yeah,
Oh, for
I
sure.
definitely agree with you with that.
Well, I remember watching Even Stevens when I was a kid. I would watch Even Stevens, and he was a part of this TV show that made a lot of kids happy. I'm one of them. I watch Even Stevens after school, whether it was a hard day at school. Because I mean, this sounds crazy, but when you're a kid, I mean, the littlest things that you go through can be traumatic. It's like, you see in films all the time, little kids getting told that they're fat, or, getting made fun of. And like those little things people overlook, but those things are traumatic, dude. I was a really heavy set kid when I was in elementary school. So, people calling me like fat or like fat ass or whatever, like those things hurt, but you wouldn't like express it because you didn't want to look like a pussy in front of your friends. So when you come home and you'd watch Even Stevens or Lizzie McGuire or whatever, you're watching something that like a group of people is making for that reason, to kind of get you out of the sad zone and put you in the happy zone. But then, looking at it from a different scope, it's like, okay, Even Stevens was making a show to make kids happy, or Shia LaBeouf was making a show to make kids happy, but at the same time, he was unhappy doing it. So I love films like that, and the fact that he wrote it and directed it, and he played his own father. That's the coolest thing.
That's powerful,
it's so powerful. That's the kind of thing. Those are the kind of films that should be, really recognized. And I don't think awards mean shit, but I think those are the kind of films that need to be up for praise at the Academy Awards, at the Golden Globes, SAG Awards, those kinds of things for sure.
Definitely. What was your favorite film that you've done, and why?
Oh, my favorite. God, it's all the filmmakers are going to hear this too. Well, I mean, I think my favorite full length film I've ever done, the featurette film, would be Dark Ground. That was my first feature film that I ever did. Big shout out to Craig Whedon and Chris McDaniel. You guys are awesome. We basically shot a full length feature in like 5 days. I went down to Edinburgh, Indiana for 4 days, stayed in a hotel. We had like 13, 14-hour shoot dates, and we actually just had the premiere in October, and it was really well received. So
nice.
That was a really special experience for me. But I think overall, my favorite experience filming any movie at all, and I always go back to this, it's Room 13, and I can't say enough good things about Raul and the entire cast and crew. Raul really dresses his set to where everybody's very comfortable, but at the same time, he always gets the performance he needs out of his actors. There's a lot of things that, Raul and I talked about improvisation, a lot in that film. And he was kind of pushing me to my limits, and he would get rid of, he would kind of get rid of any fear that I'd have before I was going to do a scene. So if I wanted to do something a little wild and out there, he was always very supportive of it. And he would assure me that I was capable of doing it, so that film definitely kind of pushed me to become a better actor, a better person, a better artist, creative. And then the relationships I got out of that too, Barton is, I'd say he's still one of my best friends. We don't talk as much as we used to because he's a little busier nowadays, but Barton and I, we've shared a lot of memories. We drove to Atlanta from Chicago overnight for an audition that I had down there. And those things wouldn't have happened had I not done that film. So, very thankful to still be a part of that and be close with the cast and crew. And again, another big shout out to Raul. he's such an incredible filmmaker. I'm not sure if you ever personally worked with Raul, but he's so good. The way
Great guy, man.
He's just, I mean, the dude, he's turned into like a brother, you know. He calls me at Monday when I'm at my day job at like noon and I'm working, and I'd answer, and he's like, "Hey, just wanted to, you know, see what was up. How you doing, bro?" And then that's it. It could be a 2 second,
nice.
It's like a 2 second phone call, but it's just, you know, those are the people in your life that you want to stay and never leave for sure. So that just tells you a lot about the Chicago acting community. You know, it's a group of people who support each other. I mean, I can't even imagine being in a different area, you know, like Los Angeles or Atlanta. You know, there's the Chicago acting community, again, is one of the most talented communities we have, and one of the most tight-knit communities we have, because everybody turns into family overnight, you know, and that's such a beautiful thing. So I'd say for sure Room 13, that's definitely my favorite overall experience.
Definitely, man. Raul Colon, I work really close with Enrique Guzman, which is like, you know, his brother.
He's that dude, man.
Yeah, me and him have been working with each other for the past, I want to say year and a half.
For sure.
And out of nowhere, Raul Colon called me, and I have no idea who the number is. So I pick it up. He's like, "Oh, hey, it's Raul." I'm like, "Oh shit, Raul." You know, I don't know how he got my number, but he was like, "Hey, you know, I just wanted to introduce myself and say thank you for working with my brother." Mm-hmm. So man, yeah, he's a real down to earth guy, man.
I mean, and even like
really
my relationship with Enrique is my boy too, and you know, that wouldn't have happened if we had not done, you know, Walkers in the City or Room 13. So that whole group of people, I mean, I think this is our first time actually speaking to each other, but I mean, I still consider you a brother too. Like everybody in this film community, I mean, everybody can always lean on everybody, and it's just a cool thing. And you can't get that in huge motion pictures. You know, it's got to be set on like a more intimate setting at like an independent film to really get these relationships with people. And yeah, just very thankful to kind of be where I'm at and be surrounded by the people that I'm surrounded with, because it's hard, especially when you're an actor, to feel relevant in a city like Chicago. You have to have people like that around you. You have to have people who are always supporting you and always saying, "Dude, like, you know, like this is it." You know what I mean? And they assure you that, you know, like another thing too is like, you know, when you have an audition, I think a lot of, and whether actors admit this or not, you know, if you're going to Simon casting beforehand, you're going to be like, hell yeah, dude, this is my shot. This is it. But then I feel like, so there's this like preconceived notion when you walk into the room, and even if you don't look, you see like 6 or 7 other guys that are dressed just like you, that have the same sides as you. And then the fear and the doubt start coming in, you know?
Exactly.
So to have these people around you that are saying, yo, look, like this is the bottom line, dude. If you get chosen to audition for, let's say it's a part in Empire, Chicago Fire, or a movie being filmed in Chicago, you can't question whether you can do the part or not, because you can. You can do the part. If you're getting
you were picked out for the audition.
Exactly.
There's thousands of people, hundreds, if not thousands.
Oh, sure.
Auditioning for it.
So you're good enough to do this role. There's not a doubt in hell that you can't do the role. But the one thing is you have to remember, it's like, are you more fitting than the person next to you? And that's all it is. And it can literally be, if the casting director didn't have breakfast and they're in a little bit, you know, they're just not in the right mood, and they see someone else they like better. I mean, it's as simple as that. So like, this is kind of a generalization to anybody who's listening to this. Like, if you get an audition for a show or a movie or what have you, you know, your ability to play the part is not in question, and it's never in question. It's a fitting thing. Do you fit the part better than the next guy and the next guy? And if you don't, then after the audition, rip your fucking sides up, throw them in the garbage, and then work your ass off for the next audition, and then you have another shot, you know. So you have to just keep. But
you got to walk in. You got to walk in with confidence, though, because the moment you walk in with doubt and negativity in your mind, you've already lost. You've already compromised your whole side.
Absolutely, and then that's kind of like what I do whenever I walk into like a big audition. You know, like my first thing is you got to sign in, and then you sit down, and then literally like my eyes are at the sides the entire time, and when I know that I've got it, I put my sides down. I listen to music, and then until I'm called in, like, I don't really like to talk to anybody else, just because, like, if I talk to someone else, that can kind of take me out of it for a second, you know? So you just got to go in there and you got to give your interpretation of what they gave you, and then, you know, make the words on the paper stand up. And then when you're done, just leave. It's like a job interview, you know what I mean? And I'm urging people to remember this, because, like, I feel like when some people, like, whether they're excited or not, they still have that doubt. It's like, oh, I got to ask to audition for this, but there's 100 other people auditioning for it. It's okay. Well, you're one of the 100 that can play this part, you know, so go in there and show them you can do it. And if they think you're fitting, you'll book it. If not, then just move on to the next one. You know, you got to keep that that confidence up even after you leave the audition. You got to be confident. You got to be happy and grateful that you're there, because if you're not, the next person right next to you is they're gonna go in there thinking how they should be thinking, and they're gonna book it. You know what I mean? So
exactly,
for sure.
And it's really important to have that supportive group around you, because, like you said, it's hard to find people like that in Chicago full of talent, because, and especially in this industry, it's so competitive, and everybody just wants to be in front of everybody. So nobody's gonna check up on you and say how you doing, like Raul, or
dude,
text you out the blue. So it's really important to have people like that around you.
For sure. I mean, kind of going back to, that audition I had in Atlanta with Bart, and I didn't get the part, so I can say what it was for now. I had a really big read for a show called the Vampire Diaries. A lot of people know that show, and I went in, and it was like the best audition I've ever had in my entire life. I was like crying, and I was very emotional, and it was just super, super, it was just a great audition. So I got in the car and I was like, I booked that shit, but again, like my mindset wasn't right because I went, the first thing I said was I booked it, and that's already putting me in a bad mindset. And then 2 hours later, I get a call from my agent, and they're like, hey, like they said, you look 2 years too old, so you didn't get it. So now I'm on the way home from Atlanta all the way to Northwest Indiana with a very talented actor, and I'm already put in a bad mood. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to just have a very steady mindset when you're going into auditions, because like you got to go through probably 100 before you book one. But when you book that one, it makes it even that much sweeter, because like you're like, yo, I just worked my ass off for this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's all about your mindset. Your mindset's got to be there, and if it's not, then I think that people are going to have a really tough time in this industry, because it's not for everybody. But if you're talented enough, you have the right mindset, and you work your ass off, no matter how long it takes, you will get to where you want to be. You just got to believe that.
Yeah. What was the age range for that audition?
I mean, it was, I think it was anywhere from like 8. I don't even remember like the breakdown, but I think it was probably like 18 to 25 ish, something like that. But again,
how the fuck do you look 2 years too old when you can't even grow a mustache?
Again, man, that's like one of those things where it's like, you don't know what the casting director's thinking, and you never will. And I think if we did know what the casting director was thinking, a lot of us would book more things. But at the same time, it's a learning experience. You get in front of a casting director for a huge TV show, and they got your headshot and resume, and who knows what's going to happen after that. You know what I mean? They have your profile.
Like, you might not fit it for this audition, but there might be one that he's like, you know what? That guy that looked like a struggling 16-year-old, he could probably do it. And then they'll give you a call right back.
You did not just say that.
So you talked about improvising on Room 13.
Yeah.
How much of your dialogue was improvised?
The script had like a basis, kind of like a breakdown of what each scene was to be like, and I wouldn't say that I improvised every scene, but I'd say a good half of my dialogue was probably improvised. And that was just, Raul and I kind of coming together and saying, hey, what do you think about this? And with improvisation, you can't really plan out what you're going to say, but at the same time, it's like, what do you think about if I went on a tangent here and then ended here? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that makes the filmmaking process really, it makes it exciting, because as an actor, you don't know what's going to come out of your mouth next, and you kind of just let it fly. Mm-hmm. So when I was doing Room 13, I was watching the show Entourage a lot, and Ari Gold, Jeremy Piven's character in that show, is kind of like a lit match and like a loose cannon. So I was kind of inspired by that, and just kind of having no filter. And then I'm not sure how many times you've seen the film, but there's a lot of those parts where I kind of just go off on little tangents, and people are wondering like, what the hell is this dude doing? He's wild. But that's what made it fun, is because I didn't know what was next. Raul didn't know what was next. The other actors didn't know what was next, and that's what makes it fun, because every single scene is very organic. That's the part of filmmaking that you get to just kind of you get a piece of paper, you just rip it up, and then you just let the words fly, and it's just a beautiful little thing. And yeah, so I'd say probably half of my dialogue was improvised, but again, it was kind of under the supervision of Raul telling me what he wanted, and then me kind of working around what he wanted, and then we came up with, a game plan, and we let it roll, and I think it came out pretty well. I mean, obviously there's some keyboard warriors on YouTube that didn't think so, but again, if we're happy with it, that's all that matters. If you're making a short film and you're happy with it, then it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks.
Improvising is so refreshing that I could just imagine there's been plenty of times where you're doing a take and you're going off a tangent and you say something crazy like, you're titty fucking a ghost, and then like the whole room just starts laughing. Does that happen a
Yeah,
lot?
I mean, I think there are some times when you're improvising and you like not go too far, but then you start saying something that's almost like you're just having a stupid conversation with your best friend, and then I mean, once one person laughs, it's over. You know, what I mean, there were definitely some times during the filming of Room 13 where I'd say something, and then either Raul would laugh or shout out Carlos, Carlos would laugh, or Dom Capone would laugh, or Bart would laugh, or what have you, and then we'd have to retake. But again, that's what makes it fun, because once you have to cut, it's a whole new ball game the next scene. So then you go again, and then you go again, and then you go again, and then it's kind of up to Raul to go through the footage and say, all right, this is what I like. It's hilarious, and what's funny is the part in Room 13 where people laughed the most was actually not improvised. There was when we pulled up to the building in I think Streeter, Illinois. And TJ Charles was there. TJ, he was there, and I said, it was like one line. It's like, who the fuck is that fucking rapist?
Who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah, who the fuck is that fucking rapist? And then everybody, just like the whole theater, started cracking up, and I had no idea they were gonna laugh at that part. So it kind of just tells you, like, it kind of shows you, like, oh, I think this is gonna get a good reaction. But then, like, even the things that you think are gonna kind of just slip by, those can be the funniest scenes, and that was definitely one of those for sure.
Definitely. So you talk about a lot getting into these frat boy, roles, witty roles, smart ass roles. Does that come natural? Because it seems like it's like a walk in the park for you.
Well,
to be an asshole
like,
sometimes.
I think like I think if you were to ask any of my close friends that are not artists or they're not actors, they'd say that I'm not like that. But I think after Room 13, especially having that I was kind of like the poster child of like being the asshole in that film. So after Room 13, I did get, like, even with like my agents at the time, I was getting submitted for a lot of like frat boy roles and like the party kid roles and that kind of stuff. And that's all fine and dandy, but at the same time, it's like you want to kind of explore a little deeper than that. You know what I mean? Like, you want to look for another bell or another timepiece or what have you. But I think it just came natural because of the freedom that I was given in Room 13. It was a very kind of cathartic little journey for me, because I mean, there was obviously a guideline to follow, but it was kind of like, Leonardo DiCaprio in playing like What's Eating Gilbert Grape. He was playing Arnie Grape, and he said that was a very cool experience just because he kind of got to do whatever he wanted. And I think, filming with these guys for almost 24 hours straight and doing this film, it kind of opened up my eyes to what I could do. And because I was so comfortable in front of the camera saying these cuss words and being a total and utter douchebag, it was like, okay, like, well, this is one thing I for sure can do. If someone needs me to do it, I can for sure do this. But a lot of people, when they, I didn't even interrupt you, I'm sorry about that. When people see you in this film, they're like, oh man, you're an asshole. You're like a perfect asshole. And you almost get typecast in the community about being an asshole. But some people forget, it's like, whether, I'm an asshole in this, you got to remember, like, I'm still a seasoned, like, trained actor. I went to the Second City. I went to Acting Studio Chicago. My acting coach, Josie Harris Thacker, is one of the best dramatic actresses in the country. And there's still work to be done. But I think, that kind of just happened because Room 13 was so natural and so kind of fluid that it was like I said, it was a very organic process. So I think that's where, not necessarily the typecast, but that's kind of where, playing the asshole and the douchebag came into effect a little bit more. But I'm definitely, ready to kind of dive into a different realm of characters and kind of expand my horizons. Because if you play, an asshole so much, I know there's not a lot of people in Chicago that have blown up to the masses yet. Probably have a good handful of people, but if that ever does happen, you want to make sure that people know you are a versatile actor. You're not just going to play an asshole. So I'm definitely open for more opportunities, looking for the next kind of role to really allow me to sink my teeth into. We know it can be an asshole, but let's hold off on the popped up, polos and cargo shorts and Sperry's, so, but yeah, I mean, playing an asshole is fun, but there's still a lot more kind of in the film character film realm to be done for sure.
So you say you want to challenge yourself, right? I know I've asked to a guest before, but if you were to pick one role, right, what would be a challenging role for you that you would like to tackle?
What you said? Well, you cut out. You said, what would a challenge be that I like to tackle?
Yeah, what would be a challenging role that you would like to tackle?
I've always been very interested in kind of exploring a specific human condition, whether it's Tourette's or whether it's, you know, someone who's kind of bound to a wheelchair, whether it's even playing someone. This is kind of the first time I've said this publicly, but I got diagnosed with severe anxiety disorder and severe obsessive compulsive disorder a couple years ago. So that kind of put my acting career on halt for a little while, but I've always wanted to experience and explore the different depths of what a human condition can be explored with, you know? So like even with severe anxiety or ADHD or just a character piece that you can really dive into and get input from others to kind of shed light on a serious topic like that. So I'd love to do a not period piece, just kind of a piece on a specific human condition that a lot of people know about, but it's not really talked about a lot. I've always wanted to do that. So if that ever opens up, I'd love the opportunity to dive into that for sure.
Oh, and I'd be interested to watch that, man, because
sure.
I think that it takes so much work to, you know, play, you know, somebody with a mental disability or a handicap.
Absolutely.
That it's so hard. Like, I mean, to put yourself there mentally, and just because you get lost in that, you know, you might end up losing yourself and your identity into that person with Tourette's or into that person with OCD or, you know,
and that's
a difficult role.
It's such a serious topic too, you know. And I'm just this is just kind of a broad statement to anybody listening to this. If you're an actor or an actress and you have anxiety, or if you have OCD and you feel like you're stuck and you think that you can't be an actor, you can't be a creative, or you can't be in this industry if you have that, that is absolute bullshit. And don't listen to what anybody says, because it's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. If anybody says that you cannot be in this industry if you have anxiety or if you have OCD, that is the time that you literally turn around and walk away, because they have no idea what they're talking about. And that's such an important thing, because there are so many people in this industry. There's so many people in this industry that have a mental disorder. And honestly, like, my way of coping with like my anxiety and my stress and my like OCD is getting on a fucking film set and diving into a different world. That's how I cope with it. So I always struggle to answer, or, you know, I always struggle to understand why people say you can't have a mental disorder and be in this industry, because 99.9% of people in this industry have anxiety or have OCD or what have you. You know, that's so important to remember. You know, no matter what is going on in your life, if you're creative, you can do this no matter what. And
I mean, even if you didn't have a disorder, being in this industry long enough, you will develop a disorder.
Absolutely, for sure.
Who wouldn't have anxiety from an audition or being told no? Or, you know, everybody in this industry is pretty blunt, man. I mean, if you suck, then you suck, and they're going to tell you. So
for sure,
that's going to hurt you.
I mean, you got to get told no, like, anywhere from 50 to 100 times before someone even gives you
yes.
I mean, dude, it took like, so when I first got an agent in Chicago, my first audition, I got a callback for it. And I was like, damn, this is easy. I'm going to get callbacks all the time. After that, it took me 6 months to get a callback. 6 months to get a callback. That so just shows you go through 6 months of auditions. Let's say that's 20 auditions. You go 20 auditions being told nothing. Your agent doesn't even tell you if it went well or not. You go 20 times until you get another callback. And it just shows you how distressing this industry can be, but you got to feed off that negative energy and say, all right, like, you know, like, no matter what, if I'm still getting auditions, I'm still being considered for these parts. So I got to chug and chug and chug and chug. And then once my time comes up, I know it's going to be my time. And it's going to be one of those times you're not thinking about it. You're going to get done with your audition, walk back to your car, drive back home and not think about it. And then boom, you get a call. Hey, you booked it. You know, you got to stay up all the time. That's my one word of advice that I would tell actors. You got to stay up. You can't feel sorry for yourself. You can't be moping around. You got to stay productive, stay proactive, and then one day, if you work hard enough, you're gonna get there.
Do you have any special shout outs you want to give out?
Let's see. I want to give a huge shout out to my agent, Viva. She's just the coolest people. Anybody who hasn't checked out Promote Talent, make sure you go check them out. Big shout out to my lovely girlfriend and actress, Rachel McGinley. She's working on something right now that she's going to be showing the world pretty soon. Shout out Raul, Luis, big shout out to you for having me on, dude. And yeah, this is really fun. Hopefully you get some listeners to this one, man.
Actually, before I end it, Jack Skull, you're working on that, right? I've been seeing you post around that.
Yeah, so Jack Skull, that is a film that I wrote Our director is Shane Beecher. So we actually got principal photography done with that. It's kind of in the editing stages. Barton Fitzpatrick from The Chi, he is actually executive producing it as well. So just stay tuned. We got a Facebook page that's going to be built here in the next week or so for that film. I would say in the next 30 to 60 days, we'll have a rough cut done, and we'll probably be starting to plan a premiere for it, whether it's in Northwest Indiana or Chicago. So just stay tuned. It's going to be a fun little piece. And that's all I can say about that right now. But yeah, it's going to be dope for sure.
All right, man. Well, I hope all is well. Thank you for coming on, man. And I appreciate you.
No,
what you said earlier, man, you are a brother. So
Luis, like, honestly, bro,
this
is the first time we talk, bro. But like I said, if you need anything at all, please feel free to let me know. Anybody in, if we're lucky enough to be a part of this community in Chicago where everybody is so passionate about, filmmaking and acting and stuff, whatever I can do for you, please let me know. You're a brother to me, and as always, I'm always here, bro.
If you enjoyed this week's episode, please make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay centered on all Indie Center podcast episodes. If you are an independent creator and have a story to share and want to have a sit down, please email me at indiecenter.podcast@gmail.com. That's indiecenter.podcast@gmail.com. If you have sponsorship inquiries, I'd love to help local businesses. Please email me at indiecenter.podcast@gmail.com. Until next Monday, guys. Peace.